right, for more on this, let's bring in Fox News contributor Ben Domenech. Let's just pretend that stuff never, ever happened, because this is what I want to talk about.
You know, you used to be able to get on an airplane and dress up and have a steak and a cigarette. You also used to have the expectation that any politician of the right mindset in either party would be able to answer a simple question about whether they think the police should exist or not.
Right.
And unfortunately, that is a bridge too high here, a bridge too far here for this candidate who has been called the AOC of Tennessee and who is unfortunately, I think, likely to actually prevail in this current contest, one that could have some far-reaching ramifications in terms of the size of the Republican majority in the House. If you look down, there are people who are exiting the House now because they're frustrated with the fact that Congress is not doing enough. Republicans are very frustrated about that. They want to be doing more. But the fact that you could have people saying these types of crazy things still, after all of the lessons of the last several years about how much that has hurt their candidates across the country, I think just shows that this Democratic Party, and particularly its far left, is not learning any of the lessons of politics.
Well, clearly she wanted to try to erase the record because the tweets were deleted. But as we all know, the internet is forever, and it's archived out there somewhere. So she's really been taking it on the chin, not just from Republicans, but from some of these liberal news outlets as well, for what she said about not liking Tennessee and not liking Nashville. Listen to this new clip that surfaced from 2023. Listen here.
I was actually working in Europe when Trump was elected. And unlike a lot of my colleagues, decided to move back to East Tennessee, where I grew up.
After Trump was elected?
Yeah, after Trump was elected.
Oh my God!
Yes, right. Not quite the common route. And I remember taking my parents out to eat and telling them I want to get into Tennessee politics, and my mom started sobbing at the table, and she said, "You're never supposed to move back to godforsaken East Tennessee."
I mean, this stuff just keeps popping up.
Well, not just that, but I mean, God-forsaken. East Tennessee is wonderful. I mean, I've been all over the state, and it's a wonderful state.
Knoxville, Pigeon Forge, Gatlinburg. Those are all great places.
I just think that if you have that attitude toward the place that you are from, why are you trying to run to represent it? Because that's not the kind of attitude that people want in their politicians. They want people who actually love where they are from and love the people who are there, and don't view them as being people who need to be represented by someone who knows better than they are, as opposed to someone who will live out that representation.
Well, she claims to love Nashville, but listen to what she said about it on this podcast. Listen here.
I hate the city. I hate the Bachelorettes. I hate the pedal taverns. I hate country music. I hate all of the things that make Nashville, apparently, an it city to the rest of the country, but I hate it.
All right, so there she is on the record, on tape, saying it.
That sounds like the Democratic platform today. I hate country music. Yay.
Okay, but then she was challenged on it, and listen to what she said here.
The Republicans decided that they're going to start this narrative that me, the state representative who represents downtown Nashville, doesn't like the city. Sure, I get mad at the Bachelorette sometimes. I get mad at the pedal taverns, right? And you're talking to someone who has cried no less than 10 times in the Country Music Hall of Fame.
I've been to the Country Music Hall of Fame a number of times. I've never felt an emotion overwhelm me that makes me want to cry. So I'm not quite sure what she's talking about there, but she's blaming her own comments on Republicans.
Yes, it's also as if this is something that is deeply dredged up, as opposed to a lot of different podcasts that she went on and said these things publicly. This is not, digging around in somebody's private conversations or texts or anything like that, as we've seen in some other races. This is something that she put out there into the world. Of course we're going to react to it. And it's absurd to have this type of attitude toward a place that, again, you are supposed to represent. And I just think, hey, elect me. I hate everything your city is about. It's not a great narrative for her.
You think she'll win?
Unfortunately, I think she might, just because of the tenor of the current moment in politics in America. But I think that will be a very bad thing, and that the people in Tennessee will.
Well, the DNC is all in for her, so we'll see. All right. Elect the woman who hates Nashville to represent Nashville. Ben, always great to spend time with you. Thank you.
Great to be with you.
All right.
Hey, Sean Hannity here. Hey, click here to subscribe to Fox News YouTube page and catch our hottest interviews and most compelling analysis. You will not get it anywhere else.